Hey guys, it's Nikki and welcome back to another episode of Stories That Will Make You Scream. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about black-eyed children in the Appalachian Mountains. This story comes from a police officer that used to work in the Appalachian Mountains. Supposedly, he got called into the scene of a crime, and the crime was this woman was driving through the Appalachian Mountains when she hit a child with her car. The policeman gets to the scene of the crime and he's like, hey, can you explain like what happened here? Because first of all, he didn't see a child there at all. She was leaving a camping trip with her brother from the Appalachian trails. Her brother drove separately, so they were headed different ways. It was really dark, it was nighttime, and she hit something. And she's like, what did I just hit? So she gets out of the car to see what she hit, and there is a young boy laying in the road that looks to be 9 or 10 years old. She checks to see if he's alive, and he looks to be breathing, but he's not conscious. So she gets back in her car because she is in the wilderness, and she calls the police. She calls the dispatcher. She says, hey, I just hit a kid. I've been in a car wreck. I need you guys to send someone here immediately. Before she can hang up the phone, her phone dies. This is where things start to take a turn. She looks up from her phone to where the boy was laying, but he's no longer there. And then she hears tap, tap, tap on her window. The boy is standing at her window. The boy looks at her and goes, can you let me in? Can I get in the car? And this lady rolls down the window because she can't really hear what he's saying. But when she rolls down the window, she realizes he wants to get in the car. This is where her like rational brain kicks in, because this child was just laying unconscious and now he's at my window. And he is standing up as straight as a board. Like he doesn't look harmed in any way, shape, or form, but he was just unconscious in the middle of the road. That's when she starts to realize, like, I'm in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains. There are no houses out here. There's nothing. What is this child doing here? What is he doing here? And she starts thinking twice about letting him into her car. But she did just hit him. So it's kind of the least she can do is let him in her car where it's warm and safe. So she lets him into her car. She starts opening the door and she realizes that his eyes are pitch black. And I'm not talking like slightly black. I'm talking like no pupil, like all of it, no whites of the like iris, like it's all black. So at this point she's thinking like maybe this is not a good idea to let this kid in the car. So she goes to close the door, but it's already like partly open and the kid grabs the door. Horrifyingly enough, the kid is stronger than her. So he pulls the door open and starts to climb in the car. Now she's terrified. She's absolutely terrified. She pushes the child outside the car, slams the door, she starts driving off. Now everything is going fine until she's only like half a mile down the road and her car starts sputtering. We don't love this scenario. You're in a dark mountain pass and a little demon child with black eyes is trying to get in your car and your car just stopped working in the middle of the night. Like, talk about setup for a horror movie. She's like, what do I do? She's freaking out and she hears like thudding coming from the back of her car. And she realizes something is climbing onto her car, but she can't see what it is because it's so dark. So she turns back to the windshield and there's the boy with his face smashed against the glass. And he's now covered in blood and looks terrifying. And he goes, please help me, please. I don't know about you, but I'm not helping that boy. Her body starts going into panic mode. At this point, she's having a full-blown panic attack. She's crying and shaking and she's got her eyes closed. She's shaking like this. And that's when the police officer shows up and knocks on the window, which pretty much sums up the story from the policeman. But let's talk about these black-eyed children, because I've actually seen one of these black-eyed children with my own eyes before. These black-eyed children are known to prey on those people that are alone, that are in the dark, in a house or in a car or inside something. And the black-eyed children appear outside and they want your help. They need you to help them. They need you to let them in, things like that. Now, as most of the stories go, the people don't let them in. We haven't heard any stories of people who let them in and live to tell the tale. I actually had a really terrifying experience with these black-eyed children, one specific black-eyed child. So I was in California when I saw this black-eyed child, and I was laying in bed. I woke up and at first I thought this was a dream. This was weird because the black-eyed child was in my room. So I'm laying in my room, and I was in college at the time, so I had one of those desks. My bed was above my desk, and the desk was like where a bottom bunk would be. Because I was in college like that, and I had a really small room in California and I was broke, that was the setup. So I was sleeping in this bunk bed and I woke up and I had my cat Leo. He normally like causes issues at night, so I always slept with the bathroom light on because sometimes I would have to climb down that ladder to get off the top bunk to get him to stop doing things. Like one time he literally drug an entire bag of flour around my room. It was the worst thing you can imagine. It was so horrible. I woke up and I looked up to see where Leo was, and I noticed he was laying at the end of the bed, so I'm like, I wonder what woke me up. So I looked down like at the rest of my room. I noticed that the bathroom light was off. So I sat up, and that's when I saw the child. She's wearing a white dress. It's giving like The Ring. She has long black hair, and she's like standing like this, and her eyes are completely black, and she's just standing there in the room. I literally have chills just talking about it. So I went back to sleep. The next time I wake up, I'm like, was that the most horrifying dream, or was that real? I sit up and I see that the bathroom light was on, and I'm like, okay, if the bathroom light's on, then that was just a dream. Whew. Thank God. But again, it wasn't morning yet, so I went back to sleep because I'm not just gonna stay up like it's the middle of the night. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back to sleep. So I go back to sleep and I wake up in the morning and I'm like, what a very, very weird experience. Like, what an odd experience to have. I'm so glad that that wasn't real. And I start to get out of bed, get ready, you know, like I have college that day, I have like things to do. I'm like, I'll just get up, I'll get ready. You know, like I obviously didn't sleep well because I had this horrifying dream, but it's fine. So I go to the bathroom, and that's when I notice that the bathroom light is off. And I think to myself, oh shit, like why is the bathroom light off? Because if the bathroom light is off, then that means that this was real. But I'm like trying to rationalize this because obviously I don't want the little black-eyed child to be real. So I'm like, okay, well, the light went out. Like maybe the light bulb went out. So I go to the bathroom and I flip the switch, the light turns on. So the light switch was just off. And to this day, I'm like, that means that that black-eyed child was real, which is so, so scary. It was terrifying. It was horrifying. It's one of the ghost experiences that like I will never forget in my entire life. But it could be fake. I mean, what do I know? I'm just a girl. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, turn on all my notifications because I post every single day. Sometimes we do makeup looks and sometimes we just have ghostly talk. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!